And welcome to this Mobile World Live webinar. I am Michael Carroll, a Senior Editor at Mobile World Live, and I'm delighted to be your moderator for today's event. During the event, we're going to explore how eSIM adoption is now poised for takeoff as operators, device makers, and more begin to fully realise the potential of the technology. Adoption was given a key boost as Apple, Samsung, and Huawei each announced plans or launched devices using the technology, a significant move with the potential to reach more than half of the global smartphone market. This reach is essential in matching growing demand from mobile operators. GSMA intelligence reports at least 158 operators in more than 60 countries are already offering eSIM services for smartphones, with a host more plotting launches in 2021. By 2025, GSMA intelligence predicts 35% of global smartphone connections will use eSIM, with the market potentially broadened by IoT-type applications, including smart metering. The numbers certainly suggest we have learned to stop worrying and love the eSIM, but what does that mean in reality? How can service providers make full use of the technology, and what changes will be needed to their current back-end systems to do so? Here to provide the answers are Alexey Vedin, Director of Network Modernization Products at global BSS provider Nexign, Artem Polizenko, Business Development Director at Russia-based operator Rostelecom, and Jean-Christophe Tisseuil, Head of eSIM at the GSMA. Alexey, Artem, and Jean-Christophe, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. Hi, everybody.
Now, while our experts are presenting, I'd like to encourage you, the audience, to interact by posting comments and questions. We will have time at the end of the presentations to address some of those questions. So to get involved, post your questions in the box underneath the slides, and we will try our best to get them answered at the end. With that, I hand over to Jean-Christophe.
Thanks, Michael. So, just a brief introduction from my side. So for the people that don't know me, I'm Jean-Christophe Tisseuil, and I'm leading the eSIM project in GSMA. So that's about the red dot that you see on the slide at the moment. So the red dot is materializing on the image the operator credentials, the ones that are physically personalized in a SIM, in a plastic SIM today, allowing a device to connect to the network. What we are doing in the project is defining a methodology to implement a remote personalization of the SIM that is soldered in the device that you're going to use, and how the operator is going to download securely and securely the eSIM profile, the security credentials inside the SIM, and allow the device to connect. So that's what we are doing in GSMA for 6 years now, and with quite some success, as we have seen some takeoff in many places. So in IoT, eSIM is real. Many use cases are using eSIM to connect device, cars, drones, motorcycles, bikes, trucks, meters, street lights. I have some sympathy and some. I like the planes one. So maybe something for many of you that is unknown, but planes communicate maintenance data during the flight. And so far, most of it is done through satellite, and it's quite expensive. So the data is needed for when the plane lands to do the maintenance of the plane in the most effective time. So with the SIM, Airbus in that case, with a company called Transatel, has connected plane to reduce the quantity of data going through satellite and allowing the plane to transfer the data to the maintenance center when landing. So that's a very I think a very sexy use case. Also, there are not many planes flying at the moment. The other one is the dog collar, the connected dog collar. So if you lose your dog, the dog collar is connected and offering localization service so you can find your dog. This is also an anecdote I wanted to share with you. When we were working on the specification in the project, most of the case we were using dog collar as an example of the thing we could do with eSIM. So what is really a great satisfaction for the project is to see that a connected dog collar is available on the market. eSIM is also real in consumer, as introduced by Michael. So we have devices now from on top of Apple and Google, from Huawei, Samsung and Motorola. The Razor being so far the only eSIM only device on the market. And what we have also is watches, tablets and laptops from all over the world, meaning that eSIM is real, is available, it's consumer friendly. The experience of most people when you talk to them when they activate their eSIM is very positive, and that's another satisfaction that the project has. Last slide, also most of it has already been said by Michael in his introduction. So eSIM is real also from a service provider point of view. So there is 158 mobile service providers that have launched eSIM for smartphone across 60 countries so far. And the interesting figure is that it has doubled from the same period last year. So last year we had approximately 70 operator service provider offering eSIM. And now there is 158 of company offering eSIM. So honestly, it was tough, and it's a great achievement. It's a great achievement because of the project member, of the specification of being available, and also of the endorsement of the industry and the operators and the service provider to use GSMA specification as the de facto standard for remote SIM provisioning. Fragmentation was the risk when we started the project. And what we see today is that consumer market is so far not fragmented, and there is one unique solution for device and service provider around the globe. So here is my short introduction, Michael.
Excellent, Jean-Christophe. Thank you for that. And it segues nicely into Artem. You can tell us some more about that operator experience.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Jean-Christophe. Great statistics. I hope that Rostelecom included. My point is, many people in Russian telecom believe that MVNO are only about marketing solutions and can't offer any new services to customers. This logic is based on the history of Russian mobile networks. For many years, there have been only 3 full country coverage operators. Also, there are few local operators, but they were almost always considered only the source of radio spectrum and customer base from M&A. Also, Russia's mobile telecom is prettily regulated, so projects which have government support are obviously started up easily, like it was with 3G and 4G networks building. But otherwise, there is a different story. eSIM for many years was a project without any support, as from government and also from big 3 federal operators. It changed only when MVNOs appeared. Historically, Russian ARPU is lower than anywhere in Europe or North America, so there is no best possible way to survive to MVNOs with a small number of customers. For example, 4 biggest MVNOs in Russia have more than 10 million subscribers, and the host operators nearly 200 million. MVNOs can't get many subscribers just selling the same product as host operator, but a little bit cheaper. So we as Rostelecom decided to build our own core network so we wouldn't depend on the host operator and would be flexible in our customer office. As a result, we built our own PS core, completed our full capacity real-time billing with our own support team. We became the first MVNO in Russia to offer not only voice and data, but also heavy services such as fixed mobile convergence, VPN over mobile last mile, and many usual mobile services. After that, we were thinking how to solve another problem, the size of Russia. It's true. For any mobile operator in Russia, one of the biggest problems is how to keep enough amount of SIM cards in every region. How to build supply chain which considers, on the one hand, diversity of locations of mobile stores, and on the other hand, diversity of HLR and HSS in different regions. At first, we were looking for DSA solutions, but that was a very heavy and expensive platform. But when we decided to look forward to eSIM, and that really looked nice. The main problem was only that in Russia, there were no legislative acts for eSIM. So we started hard GR work with this idea. As a result, we and our host operator got the permission to start a pilot of eSIM sales, based on the result of which future legislation acts will be based. At this moment, the preparation of legislation acts in process. So technically, the launch was not so hard as a jar work. For the time that is needed to deploy physical platform on our network, we agreed with our vendor to temporarily use his cloud eSIM platform. The most of sold eSIM are provisioned through this cloud eSIM platform right now, and we are waiting to the completion of the deployment platform. If we look at the launch of the eSIM from the point of view of sellers and sales channels, when we had to conduct a separate training course on this topic, to show how the SIM profile is downloaded live to the cell phone. It took a considerable amount of time, but since it's very convenient, employees quickly appreciate it and now see a really significant role in this technology in the future. I believe now Alexey has
thank you. So let's take a broader look at what benefits eSIM can bring to communication service providers like Rostelecom. Nexign, the largest BSS provider in Russia and the CIS, keeps a beady eye on eSIM technology development. Speaking about the approach to eSIM support for enterprise-level management system like BSS, we see the maximum impact on the business and the distribution channels and the supply chain as a whole. In fact, for the consumer segment, this is the first digital product without physical contacts, signatures, and any mechanical manipulations with subscriber devices. What does it bring us besides a pretty good user experience? Telco player can significantly simplify their business processes, excluding additional steps. Obviously, the first is the accumulation of goods in warehouses, with all the appropriate support for stocks and logistics, ordering new SIM cards in factories, transferring internal distribution, managing sales channels, and other costly things. The second part of simplification and improvements from eSIM technology is the possibility to define very flexible scenarios for customers' products, selling, activation, changing operator using mobile number portability, inbound and outbound roaming user partner subscriptions. All of these things are available out of the box in BSS solution if it has the required level of standard support and flexibility. So we recognize two phases in eSIM support in BSS landscape. The first one is some kind of a basic level, which allows to start selling eSIM. What do you need for that? The minimal scope is adding new types of SIM profiles using BSS lifecycle management tools and provided modifying forms and self-care and customer care channels for product sales and activation, adding QR codes and some information for users and customers. The second phase is standard support, which means integration between SMDP, SMDP Plus, and your billing system. This integration unlocks fully digital end-to-end process for eSIM management, from creating profiles to moving it to sales channels and product activation for consumer devices. In case of M2M segment, it enables a full control on the devices. At this point, I would like to pass over to Artyom for sharing the ways Rostelecom plans to integrate the new possibilities that eSIM brings to MVNO business.
Thank you, Alexey. Actually, Rostelecom is a big player on B2B market. We as MVNO are competing hard even with the leader of B2B mobile market in Russia. So it's quite important for us to start mass M2M and IoT SIM sales to the B2B customers. We believe that on the market, which historically still uses circuit switch data for M2M, I remind you about the side of Russia, the remote eSIM provisioning to devices is the main business development in the B2B segment. It is an essential need for us to put customer profile via application in car, watch, and other consumer electronics through entitlement server. We believe that eSIM will be additional separate value on our market. Also, eSIM will help us to service inbound roaming. This year, GSMA published specification about DLT technologies. And at this moment, we with Nexign are taking a part in a project which will allow us to build a digital platform for distributing eSIM for such purposes and many other cases. But the results of this project will be announced a little bit later. I believe that Alexey will tell about this something more.
Thanks, Artyom. Speaking about the key drivers for eSIM as well as directions needed to be chosen as the first priority, should it be humans, consumer segment, or machines, M2M? Obviously, it depends on your business profile. Nevertheless, we can define some common drivers for all our existing clients and target markets. Today, we are facing a fairly unpredictable digitalization process of sales channels. Fully and truly contactless manner of sales needs to have really virtual network subscription. The second important thing for consumers is to be free and save all time their personal identity, calling numbers. So if anyone provides to a future customer eSIM as a network subscription, it looks necessary to have the same on your network. Since we all started using wearable devices over the past 10 years, now we want all the watches to be connected to the network, independently and regardless of our handsets, but using a single agreement with a single account in your BSS. No one wants to care about extra charges, balances, thresholds and available service levels for your new device. And again, no one wants to pay significantly more. That's why companion devices are a very effective approach for product portfolio improvements. In today's reality, we cannot monetize roaming services as before, though the publication of eSIM profiles and the possibility of exchange between market players, as Artem mentioned, remains one of the most valuable areas for generating new revenues. And finally, when we're talking about M2M segment, everyone thinks of a bulk of connected devices. And who will pay for them? Assuming the fast growth in this segment of the market, we suppose that narrowband IoT and automotive will be key directions next 3 years for your network. In case you will provide comprehensive and smooth automation for all stages, from subscription generation and uploading in the devices to non-IP data delivery support. Struggling with new and current fears, many market participants are waiting for others to take action in order to respond to this later. Is this a winning strategy? Not every time. Taking into account the size of telco players, we can separate and formalize an approach to adopt this technology and mitigate the risks. The biggest players usually have concerns for increasing the churn level by eSIM. Does it depend on their possibility to support eSIM? Obviously not. We consider that the right strategy for tier 1, 2 players is exposing maximum of network resources to sales channels to represent and defend their actual market share. Tier 3 and 4 MVNOs are more active and flexible initially. They can realize a different approach to shape unique customer and market segment. For example, MVNO can provide inbound and outbound roaming to generate new revenue, publishing eSIM and service bundles on open marketplaces. In any cases, all players have new advantages through global seamless connectivity. This is a new world where cooperation with your competitors is necessary for survival and further growth.
Well, thank you, Jean-Christophe, Artem, and Alexey for that in-depth look at the eSIM. Audience, we are now going to start turning things over to your questions and comments. And thank you for all of those that you've submitted so far. The level of engagement has been wonderful. But don't worry if you haven't yet submitted a question. There is still plenty of time. You just fill in the box underneath the slide presentation, and we will do our best to get to those in the next 15-20 minutes or so. So with that, we will just do some slight adjustment. Okay, the first question in is, what has been the greatest challenge around eSIM standardization? And Jean-Christophe, you touched on this a little bit, but is there any risk of fragmentation?
Yeah, I touched on it already. So I think the biggest risk is partially behind us. When we started the consumer project in 2014, we started with the task to avoid fragmentation, because the risk at that time was that each OEMs deploy eSIM with a proprietary solution, meaning that service provider would have to implement multiple solution to maintain customer choice. So we started the project in 2014 with around 10 companies, and now we have 130 companies participating to the eSIM project in GSMA, showing that the ecosystem is committed to the GSMA solution and specification, and therefore I think fragmentation is behind us. So answering to the challenge question, I think it was the biggest challenge, fragmentation, but I think this challenge has been addressed, and today I think we can be confident that the GSMA specification will have a bright future.
Excellent, thank you for that. Next up, we have a question. It sounds like the changes to the back-end systems is costly, both financially and in terms of time. Do the benefits really justify this?
Michael, let me answer.
All yours.
Thanks. I think it's a question of your business strategy. To defend your market share and margin level, you always pay in advance to be industry standards compliant. And the eSIM, it's a standard technology, so well defined and approved worldwide. But eSIM cannot replace the SIM card instantly. It will be a gradual process, so we can review business scenario and invest on this on regular basis. So the most important thing to understand is there are no turning back to the physical form factor for SIM and classical retail stores as a distribution model for next 5 years.
Okay, and perhaps around that same thing, since you just mentioned that though, in terms of the distribution model, has there been a benefit from the COVID-19 pandemic in terms of emphasizing that remote provisioning and that sort of remote distribution? And that's, I think, for all of you.
I'm going to silence is bad. So let me try to. Obviously, I'm working for GSMA. I'm not working for the industry, but in my position, I have a lot of discussion. And what I can say on COVID-19 is that in many cases, it has demonstrated the importance of being able to have some business continuity. When the physical SIM cannot be distributed any longer because the post office are closed, because the shops are closed, as we have seen those last months, it is a business continuity question to be able to deliver subscription remotely. And eSIM is a technology that allows to deliver subscription remotely. So there is an increasing interest, I'm going to put it like this, from a certain number of players in the industry, including operators, on the importance to have this backup plan that may become mainstream plan in the coming years.
Okay, great. And perhaps along a similar line, we've been asked, basically, how can mobile operators maintain that level of customer relationship once they deploy eSIMs to terminal manufacturers and other people that this is opening on the production side, manufacturers of other devices? How can operators avoid just becoming a provider of the transport or access side of that and maintain some sort of customer relationship?
So I guess it's for me too. So I think maybe I don't know if I have the answer. It's probably something that needs to be discussed and addressed by the product team in the operator. But I think providing the best digitalized experience is probably one of the answer. And here I'm focusing on the consumer, but from customer enrollment, and there are very good solutions on the field that allow you to digitalize in a digitalized manner, do the KYC process. So you have those tools that are available, and providing a great experience activating your device. is probably part of the answer. The other answer is that eSIM is a SIM, right? So it doesn't prevent the operator to continue to have their service proposal beyond the connectivity part. So that doesn't change the picture at all. At least it provides probably some opportunity to do better, but it doesn't change the fact that the operator remain in a position to offer more than connectivity.
Okay, Artem or Alexey, do you want to weigh in on that, or do we move on to the next?
This is Artem. I'm sorry, Alexey. Yeah, I agree with Jean-Christophe, because everybody said that operators will become a pipe. Then we built a 3G network. When they said the same story when they built a 4G network, but the answer for this question, from my point of view, is horizontal integration. This is the main thing that operator can do, and vendors can possibly help us do this. So we won't become the pipe for the customers. We become the great digital partner for the customer.
In addition, I need to say that I agree with both Artem and Jean-Christophe. I think it's not only new types of connectivity subscription distribution model, but also it means growth of competition on the market. So it's a very good thing for end customers. So it's not only business continuity, but also means additional advantages for end customers.
Okay, great. The next question is for Artem. It says so. So Artem, ready yourself. When do you plan to start eSIM sales in Russia, and are there any barriers to that?
I thought I cleared that in my presentation, but we started it. We started it in 2018. There is some restrictions. There is some, I may say, problems to get it, but you can legally get a SIM in Russia from the December of 2019. So we already started it.
Ideal. So that's the operator side. The next question, these are flowing very nicely, and so thank you everybody for these. Can we discuss how eSIM will be used in public safety use cases with wearable devices with NB IoT, which report on personal biometrics? So does anybody want to take that? Would you like me to read it again?
I don't know about my colleagues from Russia can answer the question, but from a project point of view, this is unfortunately out of scope. The specification is designing the security of the solution that we have specified is covering connectivity and the delivery of SIM and the remote delivery of SIM. It doesn't include anything about NB IoT, personal biometrics, or any other stuff. So this is out of scope. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
But if there are any regulation mandating to secure those data, they will be secured by the provider. I'm sure that will be the way.
Okay. Jean-Christophe, you and I both mentioned operators are already doing this. So the question is, does GSMA have a list of telcos who are eSIM ready for IoT and consumer?
So we do, but I'm going to give our source. So actually, we are using Apple, Samsung, and Huawei websites to monitor those operators that are supporting eSIM for smartphone. So I would invite you to do the same if you are interested. The other thing you can do is go to the GSMA Intelligence website, where we have published, Pablo, Jacopino, and myself, a report a few days ago, where there is a lot of information about eSIM in smartphone and other markets and other verticals. So that's a good opportunity for me to promote this work.
Excellent. This again, Artem, this probably sounds more suitable for yourself. Forgive me directing it, but we've heard of growing support for eSIM from operators and device makers. Are there any other hurdles which could hinder the market? Again, perhaps this speaks to your experience of launching so far.
Well, yeah. As for me, I experienced the real hardness with the jar work. That's the hardest work for me, especially in Russia. But technically, as I said, the launch was easily, just because Jean-Christophe and his team did a great work, did a great job. We just took the specification in Technics and built our, became an eSIM provider too. So the hardest work, and I deeply believe in it, it's a GR work which is needed to be done maybe before, maybe in the time you deploy the platform of the eSIM on your network.
Okay. Well, again, it's a sort of similar, it's still, there's a lot of interest in the operator side, but how could eSIM be used to capture inbound roaming, and could it circumvent roaming architecture?
Shall I go for it? So eSIM is a SIM, so it doesn't change the way companies do business. Actually, it does, but it doesn't change roaming. So today, if you want, and you're going to China, let's take this example because I have done it, and I think my home operator is too expensive roaming in China. I have bought a SIM locally, I have put the SIM, and that's called plastic roaming. There are millions of people in a normal year that are doing that every year, and basically they are buying a local SIM and they use it for the duration of their stay. So tomorrow, you don't need to buy it, you just need to download. You still need to buy the service, but you need to download the SIM, and you will do the exact same thing, but with eSIM. It's another way. It's still roaming. It's still, but it doesn't change. eSIM is a SIM. That's a very important statement to understand the technology.
Just to complement Jean-Christophe, I need to say that we have such kind of projects, not only with our existing clients, but with partners. And there are lots of open marketplaces when you can publish your eSIM profile for your partners, retaining your customers, because it's quite important in this situation to retain your customers. Because if you have some outgoing flow, outbound roaming, you have additional risks in churn, and you need to mitigate this by additional offers to your existing subscribers from your partners. For example, they publish some eSIM profiles with service bundles. You can resell it to your customers, and we have some interesting ongoing projects in different industry organizations.
Yes, I can add that for me as MVNO, this is a new way to do business, because we can get inbound roamers as MVNO. We don't have our own RAN network, but we can get our new customers from in other countries, which we couldn't do earlier.
Okay. Well, again, they're flowing very well, actually. We've got couple more. What are the key elements operators must focus on when planning their eSIM strategy? Are these purely technical, or are there broader concerns?
Alexey, you want to start?
Yeah. So I need to say that we see the main impact for sales channels and customer user experience. So if you talk about key elements, it's of course SMDP platform and integration with existing BSS and OSS landscape. But though it's critical and very sensitive modification of your product for customers, all actions like subscription, purchasing, and activation happen instantly on your eyes, and any issues, any delays in process now become to be more visible. So we should take full care of this, both at the level of our network and at the level of business automation. That's simple answer for that.
And I think maybe to add that you probably need to do some, and again, I invite you to download the report Pablo and I have done on eSIM to have some views on how the market will evolve in the coming years. I think that there will be a cohabitation between SIM and eSIM for a while, but this cohabitation will end, and eSIM will take over the traditional plastic SIM. So you will have to decide in your strategy how you want to deal with this.
Okay, here's an interesting curveball, maybe. It's the question. The question is basically what happens if your device is broken and you have to use a replacement. The point being made is, at the moment, if you drop your phone, for example, this was the simplest example, you can take the SIM card out, put it in a replacement unit while your own is fixed. So how is that going to be addressed in an eSIM world?
Maybe there is a technical answer to that, and maybe Alexey can provide it, but or Artem. But the nice and easy answer is that if it's the same question that when you change device. So today you buy your device, and 2 years later you buy another one, you change your SIM. Obviously, there are processes that are described in the specification that we have done to allow to keep your eSIM with you when you change a device. And that's covered in the specification.
I agree, and I think we can see new user experience in this moment, because it looks like restoring your, for example, account in social network or Apple, Google ecosystem. So it's quite simple and easy and fast in this case.
For me, as an operator, I see the future of the eSIM change just like pressing a button. You're online. You press the button, you get a new QR code or link in your email. So that would be just easily.
Okay, that's smashing, and we are pretty much out of time, so we'll have to wrap things up at that point, and it seems a good time to do it. To the audience, we have had a lot of questions, and I'm sorry we can't get through them all live, but the guys will all endeavour to answer those after the event once we're offline. So thank you so much for the strong engagement and for the presentations. I think what we've learned today is that it's pretty clear eSIM offers a lot of benefits in sort of reducing the overall cost of delivering services to consumers through sort of obvious stuff like removing the need to physically put SIMs in subscribers' hands or maintain warehouse stocks, but also streamlining the BSS processes through automated authentication and verification methods, as you all just sort of touched on at the end there. There's obviously also benefits around account management, offering an ability to swiftly add more devices to an existing account, will provide deeper levels of authentication to match the stricter security requirements of specific sectors and industries, something which will be key to unlocking the broader IoT potential that you all outlined. And perhaps a key takeaway, though, in terms of driving the market forward is the need for a broad collaboration by key players. Operators can't deliver eSIM services without compatible devices and vice versa. And none of this can work, really, without specifications and the backing of government. By working together today to foster the environment, we can establish the competitive markets of tomorrow, providing digital services across consumer and industrial markets. Jean-Christophe, Artem, Alexey, thank you so much for presenting such a great webinar on how we have learned to love the eSIM.
A great pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're very welcome. As the questions that we didn't get to, we will endeavour to after the event. Also, a replay of the presentation will be available shortly. So if you missed any of the content, you'll be able to catch up. And of course, you can always contact the GSMA, Nexign and Rostelecom directly on their website. So, gentlemen, thank you once again for taking part.
Piacere.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our audience. You have been thank you to everyone. Thank you to the audience. It's been very interesting. Thank you.